talk about the historic judgment given by the Supreme Court that is sex work is legal. The Supreme Court has issued significant guidelines on sex work. For a long time, sex workers have been demanding that sex workers be treated with dignity, the country's top court said on Thursday, that is May 27th. Well, what is Supreme Court's verdict on prostitution? Prostitution is a profession like any other profession. Sex workers are entitled to equal status and equal protection under the law of the land. A three-judge bench headed by the Justice L. Nageshwara Rao issued 6 guidelines today. In the guidelines, the bench said sex workers are also entitled to equal protection and dignity in the eyes of the law. A sex worker is an adult and is doing so subject to the consent. In this case, the police will not be able to intervene unnecessarily. Article 21 of the Constitution gives every citizen of the country the right to live a dignified life. Now, what is legal and illegal in prostitution after the Supreme Court's verdict? Here we are going to explain you that. The Supreme Court has ruled that sex workers cannot be arrested and harassed during a police operation in sex pali. This is because the sex is not illegal. At the same time, it has been said that brothel is illegal. The child of a sex worker cannot be separated from the mother. The court observed that if a minor is found to be living with the sex workers, it is not right to assume that the child was trafficked. The country's top court has also sought the center's opinion on the guidelines. The next hearing of the case is on July 27th. On that day, the Supreme Court will hear the center's observations. Well, with the center yet to come up with a law on sex workers, the Supreme Court, in exercise of its power under Article 142, has issued a series of directions on their rehabilitation, including for sensitizing police to treat sex workers with dignity and to avoid abusing them or subjecting them to violence. Well, a bench presided by Justice L. Nageshwara Rao also asked the centre to spell out its stand on recommendations by a panel appointed by it in 2011 to exempt sex workers who are adults and participates with consent from criminal action. The bench also, comprising Justices B.A. Gavaiya and A.S. Bopanna, asked states and union territories to act in strict compliance of some of these recommendations, which relate only to the rehabilitation measures in respect of sex workers and other connected issues. Well, the bench said, it need not be gainsaid that notwithstanding the profession, every individual in this country has a right to a dignified life under Article 21 of the Constitution. Constitutional protection that is given to all individuals in this country shall be kept in mind by the authorities who have a duty under Immoral Traffic Act 1956. Well, in its May 19th order, the bench asked the centre to place its views in 6 weeks on recommendations on which it had reservations. This came after Additional Solicitor General Jayant Sud informed the bench that the government had certain reservations on some of the panel's recommendations. On July 19, 2011, the court had ordered a setting up of a panel headed by the senior advocate Pradeep Ghosh as a chairman to suggest measures to prevent trafficking, rehabilitate sex workers who wish to leave it, and also to make conditions conducive for sex workers who wish to continue working to do that with dignity. Well, the committee also included senior advocate Jayant Bhushan, Usha Multipurpose Cooperative Society through its president and secretary, and Darbar Mahila Samanvaya Committee through its president or secretary, and the NGO Roshni Academy through its founder Saima Hassan. The panel submitted a series of recommendations. While hearing the matter on May 19, the Supreme Court noted that in 2016 the recommendations were considered by the Government of India and a draft legislation was published incorporating the recommendations. However, since the law has not yet been made, the court said it is exercising powers under Article 142 to direct implementation of some of the recommendations. Well, the court said, as the legislation has not been made till date, even through the recommendations were made by the panel in 2016, and the said recommendations have to be implemented, we are exercising our powers conferred under Article 142 of the Constitution to issue the following directions, which will hold the field till legislation is made by the Union of India. It directed that of the 10 recommendations, 6 of them which relate to the rehabilitation measures in respect of sex workers and other connected issues be implemented, and asked states and union territories to act in the strict compliance of the recommendations. Well, this was all about the historic judgment of the Supreme Court on the sex workers and how sex work is legal, they say. Well, stay with us. We shall bring more such interesting topics to talk about. This is Aparna Sundar reporting for iScope Media.